else you just spoil your crop with heavy flooding. Now, the factors to be considered in choosing surface irrigation method, you have to look for a slopy land. Then the soil type should not be sandy. Then the type of crop to be grown should be the one that will tolerate enough water, not the one that needs just a little water, because heavy flooding may occur. Then your size of farmland too should be of consideration when you are using surface irrigation system. Now, the next type of irrigation system is subsurface irrigation system. In this irrigation system, water is applied below the soil surface by maintaining an artificial water level at certain depths. So water is applied below the surface of the soil. Like you use a kind of pipe that the water is coming from underneath. It's not coming on surface like we had in the surface irrigation system. So this depends on the type of crop you are planting and the nature of the soil you are using. So you can use perforated pipes to deliver water within the soil. So the pipe is in the soil and water gets to the roots of the crop through capillary action. So the water is not flowing down to the crop, but it's already underneath. The pipes are supplying that. So the roots of the crop are getting the plant. Now, the advantages and disadvantages of surface irrigation system. The advantages: it is possible to maintain water at optimum depth for crop need, so you can control it. Then water use efficiency is high. Then it ensures low evaporation losses from soil. Subsurface irrigation system does not create obstruction or obstacle when carrying out cultural practice because it's under the soil, so it doesn't obstruct any other thing you are doing on your farm. Now, disadvantages of subsurface irrigation system is that water with high salt content cannot be used. Then it requires some level of expertise or technical know-how. So you have to either you call an expert, or you yourself as a farmer, you are trained. You know what to do. It's not just something you can dabble into. Then it is a bit expensive because you have to run pipes under the soil. Factors that you should consider in choosing this method of subsurface irrigation method: the permeability of the substratum, then the level of the water table. Is it high? Is it very low? Then the soil texture and capillarity. Then your soil structure is another factor you should consider. Third type of irrigation system, the overhead irrigation. In this type of irrigation system, water is supplied to the farmland above the surface of the soil, above the surface. And we have two forms of overhead irrigation. We have the sprinkler irrigation and the drip irrigation. In the sprinkler irrigation, the water is sprayed. The water is sprayed from the air and is allowed to fall on the ground somehow as rainfall through nozzles under high pressure. So you carry the nozzle and you are spraying it like this. So it's sprinkling. So the plants just thinks another rain is falling, not knowing that it's the farmer that is doing that for them. So they spray it under high pressure. So you bring your nozzle with water and you're now spraying it on the plant. Then pumping machine, which operates under high pressure, is needed to pump water into the irrigation pipes. So you just sprinkle it, you just spreading out on the plant. Then the irrigation pipes are spaced to ensure even distribution of water. Advantages and disadvantages of the sprinkler irrigation. Advantages: the amount of water supply can be regulated. So you can control it. Okay, the water is enough. We are using this so quantity of water. Then it economizes the use of water since you can regulate it. Then it is suitable for high arid lands with high evaporation rates. So you can use it where there is dryness and the rate of evaporation is very, very high. The sun is so scorching. Then soluble fertilizers and herbicide can also be applied through the irrigation water. So the time you are applying water, you can also add your chemical, your herbicide and fertilizer that is soluble in water, so you can fertilize your farm and even add herbicide while you are doing irrigation. The disadvantages of this: number one, it is costly to operate. You have to bring in pumping machine, bring in nozzle, use pipes and the rest, so it's expensive. Then high wind velocity may prevent the distribution of water. Then a stable water supply is required, so you have to have a stable source of water that you are using. Then there may be a lack of sufficient technical know-how on the sprinkler irrigation operation, so you need technical know-how. You need to really know how to go about it. So there is need for an expert, or you yourself being trained for that kind of operation. Now, the second form of overhead irrigation is the drip irrigation. In this method, water is discharged through the nozzles called emitters or drippers at selected spacing to deliver water to the soil near the base of the plant. So they put the nozzles or the emitters at specific places, selected places, to deliver water to the base of the plant. Then loss of water through deep percolation, runoff and evaporation is greatly reduced by this process. Now, the advantages and disadvantages of drip irrigation. The advantages: first, it economizes the use of water, it reduces salt concentration, in the root zone. Then fertilizer can also be applied through this system. It operates with slower line pressure. Then it is most appropriate in arid and semi-arid areas. That is where you have dryness. The area is dry. Disadvantages: one, it is very expensive to set up and maintain. Then water cannot be distributed evenly in a slopy farmland. When the farmland is slopy, water cannot be distributed evenly. The lower parts gets more water, while the surface, the higher plane is suffering. The water with high salt content cannot be used. The problems associated with overhead irrigation: number one, spray force can damage ripening soft fruit. I said you are using nozzle and you are using pressure and you are just spraying it over your farmland. By the time, maybe by accident, error of omission or commission, you just, it's under high force, you bring down your nozzle to a particular fruit or plant, or around fruit or plant that is so soft, and the force is just on them, it can just destroy the fruit. So that force of the spray can damage ripening soft fruit. The stable water supply is required for economic use of the equipment. Then when you are first starting, you want to first invest in this overhead irrigation, it is very, very expensive. Then it requires technical know-how. It can spread disease. You are spraying like this. So once you just carry something from a particular plant, you can just transfer it to the whole farmland in a twinkle of an eye. So that's another problem associated with overhead irrigation. Then there is a high cost of maintenance, repairs, and of spare parts, because you have to maintain it, and it's quite expensive. Now, problems associated with irrigation on a general level. Number one is inadequate supply of water. When there is no water, then irrigation is not possible. Then irrigation equipment is also expensive. It may lead to pollution if it contains dangerous chemicals. For instance, maybe you are using a contaminated, or you have used the nozzle or the pipe to transport or to carry chemicals or something before, and maybe you do not take proper care. You are still bringing it to your farm, then pollution may set in. Then it disturbs the free movement of farm machineries. Place pipe, place everything. Your farm machinery cannot move freely. Then disease-causing organisms increase with increasing humidity. They thrive well. Those pathogens thrive well when there is water. They can just get along with moisture. So that's another problem. Then vectors of diseases like snail and tsetse fly breed freely in irrigated areas. You know, they have water, they are enjoying themselves, they can just keep on breeding, and that is causing problem for the farmer. Then there is excessive dissolution of salt in irrigated water, which prevents proper growth of plants. So these are the problems that are associated with irrigation. As good as it is, you know, there is nothing that has its own pros without the cons. So these are the problems that is associated with irrigation. Now we'll be looking at drainage. Drainage is a process whereby excess water in the soil is removed artificially to promote good farming activities. There are situations that we have excess water on the farm. There is like flooding of water. So what do? Do we just leave it there and watch our crops being destroyed? No. We embark on what is called drainage. So it is the withdrawal of excess water from the soil, at the same time retaining adequate reserves to carry the crop through the periods of scarcity. So that is what drainage is all about. It's like the opposite of irrigation. You know, that is artificial addition of water to your farmland, while drainage is the artificial removal of excess water and retaining the adequate reserves to carry the plant throughout the time where there is